Around the year 1500, composers began taking their melodic material and reversing it to create seemingly new melodies. This practice of reversing melodic material was referred to in Latin as per motum retrogradum, or simply retrograde motion. This simple principle would become a pillar of melodic development and remains just as important to this very day. Although melodic material was often reversed throughout the history of Western music, it was only the melody in the end that changed directions compared to the direction in which the music was read, which remained the same. However, on rare occasion, this standard way of reading notation was challenged, which in turn created some incredibly clever examples of retrograde motion in music. I will now present 3 examples of this principle, each more clever than the last. First, I will start with Joseph Haydn's Minuet al Reverso from his 47th Symphony. In the third movement of the symphony, the musicians are instructed to repeat passages of music, but not just from the beginning, but rather in retrograde motion, creating what sounds like an entirely new passage of music. This example from Haydn is pure, unaltered retrograde motion, but there is another composer who predates Haydn and who took retrograde motion one step further. In Johann Sebastian Bach's musical offering, we are presented with many clever musical riddles, but one of particular notoriety is his crab canon. The crab in the title is a direct translation of the German musical term for retrograde motion, crepes. This might seem odd, but the concept of a crab being used in the context of retrograde motion comes from the Latin cancrescens, which means to move crab-like or backwards. This canon from Bach is unique in that it is a duet in which one player plays the piece forward, whilst the other player simultaneously plays the piece backwards. Perhaps my favorite example of this type of motion, and what I personally find the most clever, is Mozart's Mir canon, written for 2 violins. In theory, it is actually a table canon, or retrograde inverse canon, where the melody is not just played backwards, but mirrored as well. In this piece, Mozart uses a singular melodic line to convey all the material needed for a duet. Similar to Bach's crab canon, the melodic accompaniment starts at the end and travels backwards. Amazingly, Mozart adds one more level to this incredible musical puzzle and flips the clef so the violinists stand facing each other and read from the same melodic line, albeit with the accompaniment reading the music in retrograde. You might be asking how this is even possible. And while it isn't possible to ask Mozart personally, there are clues in the music itself. Mozart wrote 4 of these impressive canons, and they are all in the key of G major. And in the treble clef, G major is the most harmonically symmetrical key signature there is. While retrograde motion is hardly ever conveyed the way Haydn, Mozart, and Bach sometimes conveyed it, it remains an important method to lengthening and developing melodic material. and it is a principle almost all great composers use to develop their motifs and themes.